What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another K24 update video here, and if you can kind of see the K24 behind me, it is pretty much on the same spot that it was last time we saw it. Last time we kind of took the head off and everything. We discovered it's very dirty, both top of the pistons, underneath the head, and honestly we already kind of knew that as well because, I mean, look at this. You can kind of see it's super brown. It is super brown in here too. You can see I already got ahead of myself and installed some parts. I kind of jumped the gun on that. So we're gonna go ahead and remove a lot of these things here so we can get underneath it and clean it once and for all. We got the head over here as well that needs to be cleaned up. Again, super dirty on top and on the bottom of it. So we're gonna clean that up today. Here we have other pieces of the head that we're gonna clean as well. I wanna get it all nice and organized as I can so we can get this as clean as possible. Somebody recommended to me to use card cutter. I tested it here in a bit and it looks like it's doing a very good job. So we're gonna hit most of these parts with that today. I'll leave a link on the bottom if you guys wanna pick it up. But reason why it's taking so long for this is because I've been saving money, buying parts and stuff like that. So I'll give you guys a sneak peek here. Here are thousands of dollars, literally, of parts here that are waiting for this K24 swap. So hopefully once we get this cleaned up, check to see if we need to send this over to a shop or not. We might just decide to put it back together, slap the ARP head bolts, the head gasket, and just send it. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna go ahead and start cleaning it up here. So let's get to it. So we just fast forward through removing all of these things. Don't worry about it. We're gonna have a video on how to add all those things later. But we are looking just at the engine here. What I'm gonna do is, before I start working on the block itself, we're gonna actually take these little pieces from the head, which is this right here. It's what goes right on top, right, holding the cams and everything. We're gonna go ahead and clean those up here with the card cutter. Put it on top of this. Might need to clean it up a little bit. And just so I can show you guys how actually much work is doing. So you can kind of see them right now. They're all super brown. The only thing that's not brown is where the bolts were at and then underneath, right? Because that's where the cam was. But everything here on the side looks pretty brown, and all of them, both sides. So let's go ahead and hit those up with the card cutter, see how good it works there. And then we'll move on to doing the block probably first, and then we'll leave the head for the kind of end. That one I think is going to be the one that's a little more difficult since it has a lot of stuff on top and on the bottom. And then here, this part too, I don't want the card cutter to be going like straight down into all of the spots. So we're probably going to have to flip it and try to hit it from like the bottom. So that way it just comes right back down, right? Like everything just kind of falls down into the ground instead of falling down in here, have it twisted and all that. So yeah, it shouldn't affect anything in here, fingers crossed, right? But just trying to prevent as much as I can from going inside of the engine itself. So let's get to work. Now, if you have a very dirty engine like I do right now here, I would recommend you go ahead and get the gallon. And for all the small pieces like this, just go ahead and pour that card cutter into a bucket or something that you can just submerge the pieces. Leave them there for a little bit, then bring them out, clean them with the non-scrubbing pad or a paper towel or something, and then put them back in there until they are basically nice and clean. Once they are all nice and clean, go ahead and rinse them out. Make sure you are neutralizing the card cutter, and then you'll be good to go. Guys, check it out. These things are pretty much back to that factory silver now. You can see, I mean, I still got a little bit of work here on this one to do, but if you recall, just from the fast forwarding video that you just saw, these things were brown, guys. So this card cutter definitely works. If you pick up an engine and it's nasty like mine it is right now, use this. Probably get you a jug or something, like a gallon or something, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to run through this with just everything that I got to do today. But I just bought that one to get it started and see how it's going to work. So yeah, we're going to move on into doing this thing first. Try to get as much of this as we can, flip it, try to do the top of the pistons as well, get it all nice and clean. And then we're going to leave the head for the end. I think this is going to be obviously the worst one since it's pretty nasty. So I might need to refill. I don't know if that's going to be enough for all of that. So we're going to have to maybe order some gallon or something, or see if Home Depot or something has it. But yeah, so this is doing massive work. We're going to continue doing some work here, some more cleaning. Got a long day of cleaning to do here, so let's get to it. Guys, check out that progress. I mean, look at that. That looks like day and night difference. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. There's definitely some areas where I've still got some residue and stuff like that. All the areas where I can't really reach right with my hand and stuff like that. So I might have to get some Q-tips or something to kind of get to those spots. Up here too as well, you can see on this side, needs a little bit of work still. Because of the way it is, it's kind of hard to hit it from the bottom and then try to get that in there. So I might have to tilt it this way and pull a little bit of that liquid in there to see if I can get it out. But this looks 10 times better than it was before. I mean, let me show you the head so you can remember. This is more or less, now that one's a little bit thicker, but more or less how this looked, right? And I mean, look at this progress, guys. This looks brand new out here. Now it's making the rest of this side look dirty, so I'm gonna have to work on that. But this looks amazing, so I'm glad I'm done with this. I'm kind of running out of time today for this, so we'll have to come back here in a second and finish up the rest of it later. But yeah, let's keep doing some work. All right, guys, so I have flipped the engine here. I scrubbed the bottom a little bit more and just letting it drip now. So I just kind of try to drip as much as I can of the cleaner in there. And you can see here, I'm just showing to the top again. Top of the pistons are pretty black, pretty nasty right now. So we are letting this to kind of soak in the liquid right now in the crack cutter. And then we're gonna go ahead and hit them with the non-scratching pad, right, to try to break a lot of this carbon buildup here. So we're gonna do this two first, then we're gonna lubricate the pistons here with a little bit of oil and then flip this one to the top so we can hit the other two as well. And then I think we're also gonna go ahead and start hitting here the head. Now you can kind of see this is pretty nasty, so I'm gonna scoop this here towards the edge and then start hitting it as well, kind of maybe start doing both at the same time here. So. So check it out, guys, this is the progress we've done so far. Now you did see everything fast forward, but I will say it took me a couple hours to get to this point. It was definitely super caked on, the top of one was. So hopefully if you get an engine, it's not as bad as this one. So yeah, it did take me quite a bit of elbow grease, quite a bit of spraying this thing up and down, cleaning it up, hitting it with a brush. I did use a brass brush, which is not supposed to damage aluminum, but we can definitely tell there's little scratches all around the top of it. It shouldn't affect anything, but I wouldn't recommend you do it. Do that at your own risk if you're gonna do this. So we have this two pretty much for the most part done. We have a little bit left here, which we'll hit that a little bit later since I ran out of time to be here in the garage. And we're gonna come back here when we start doing this one. So it should be just a few seconds for you guys. But before we move on to that, I wanna show you guys also the head. Now the head, I just been kind of spraying it. I haven't really taken the time to go in here and scrub it outside of this one just because I was trying to see how good it was gonna clean this. And look at that, that is looking awesome there. But you can tell even just on this, just by spraying it, it's already looking not as brown as it was before. So I think we're gonna do some good progress here. I've been soaking the other little things here on the liquid itself. And I mean, look at that. This looks pretty much brand new. So we're doing good progress here. We're gonna come back once we start doing the other two here, and then we'll focus a little bit more on the head. All right, guys, so here's the front cover. As you can see, it came out awesome. It's super clean. This is all just the crack cutter, some brushes, a little bit of elbow grease, and yeah, it came out awesome. I think this is a pretty good result. I'm still debating whether I'm gonna switch it for a fancy Skunk 2 cover. That will be very nice, but they do cost some money, so we'll think about it. In the meantime, we have it all nice and clean. Now the head here, you can see, it came out great. Look at that. Look how clean that is. Nah, just playing, guys. We actually ended up switching heads here. I'm gonna post a video right here real quick of how the progress I had and everything before I traded this head. You can kind of see that. It looked pretty good overall, especially the top, but the sides of them were pretty cracked up. There was a lot of buildup and everything. So we ended up switching and getting this head. This one has been machine shop clean. So it's all nice and clean all around, inside and out, as comparison to the one we had before. And I think it's gonna be better overall. even with the small money that I gave the guy for this one, I think we're still coming out ahead. Engine-wise, we're still under $1,000, which a lot of the engines that you can find online are pretty much at that mark, and that's before you do anything to them. So we are pretty good here. What we're gonna do though is continue cleaning some of the other parts, right? We have the assembly here on the top. You can kind of see that is super dirty and crusty, just like all the other parts were. Apologize for that truck driving by, guys. Super loud. Some of these bolts also, we're gonna clean them as well. And then the camshaft, if you saw there, here we have the other one, also was super dirty. This one, you can already tell, is looking a lot better. I mean, that used to be that nasty brown, and then now it's looking nice and silver like it's supposed to from factory. So we're making some good progress here. We're gonna continue cleaning everything that we can before we start assembling everything back up, and hopefully have it all nice and silver like it's supposed to be. All right, guys, so I'm starting to put stuff away since I'm about to go inside the house here, but you can kind of see the bolts are looking nice and silver here. No more brownish colors on them. They look good. Put them here to the side. If we move over here to the cams themselves, this one looks pretty good. The intake cam still needs a little bit of attention. I didn't give it as much scrubbing as I should have, I guess. So it does have a little bit of an edge on a few of this kind of lobes here. So we're gonna hit this one potentially again one more time a little bit later, but for now they're nice and clean. I also sprayed them with some lubricant to make sure they're not gonna be sitting out here rusting. Since I'm not gonna assemble this just yet right now, we wanna make sure they are nice and protected. So if we go over here to the assembly, which is what I spend most of my time with today, you can kind of see, look at this, night and day difference, guys. This was brown, and I mean dark brown, and look at it now, nice and silver, basically back to a factory look. Now, I do want to call out that the crud cutter seemed to dull the aluminum a little bit. It shouldn't be a problem. I looked it up. They've been using this with aluminum and engines and everything else for ages now, so it shouldn't affect anything, but I do want to call out that it did dull it a little bit. And it's most likely because we stripped pretty much all of the oil, all of the grease, anything that was kind of keeping it protected, right? And you might see it here, looks a little bit wet. Reason why, same thing, we hit it with a lubricant. We want to make sure it's nice and protected. We don't want to start rusting out in the pieces that could rust out, right? So we're going to leave it nice and lubricated here, put it to the side for now, and then once we're ready to assemble, which is going to be probably another night and just a few seconds for you guys, then we're going to put this back over here and start going through the process, getting the ARP bolts and everything together. So let's get to that. All right, it is a brand new day here, and here we have the head as clean as possible, at least as clean as I could get it here at the house without taking it to a shop. I know what you guys are thinking, you're like, Brian, should have just taken it apart, take it to the shop and everything. It is gonna be more work and more expense for me, and trust me, there's plenty of things we had to buy that make this build not cheap. So we ended up putting the money that we saved basically from this getting machine shop clean into other parts of the build. So we potentially could have used maybe with the little cross hatching tool. I can see some cross hatching. It could have just a little bit of a touch up. I don't have time to do that, so we're just gonna say fuck it, run it like this. If it dies, like they say in Rocky. So we are gonna go ahead and get our tools ready here. We have the head, we have a brand new OEM head gasket there. You can see the part number. We have some brand new OEM dowel pins as well. They're kind of pricey for being just dowel pins. Some lubricant, our Allen wrench. This is a 3/16, I believe. I'll write it down here in case it's not. That is what we're gonna use for the studs here, for the ARP studs, just to get them hand tight. We're not gonna get anything crazy there. We have our instructions, ARP bolts, everything ready to go. We're gonna start following this to a T. Make sure we get it all nice and proper here. So let's get to work. Check it out, guys. The head is finally bolted onto the block here. We have the ARP bolts all nice and tight all around here. You have to do this basically in a 3-step process. At least my instructions said that I needed to tighten up this bolts up to 80 foot-pounds, but you have to do it in increments. So I first did 26 pounds, then I move on to 52 pounds, and then I finally did 80 pounds at the end there. But you have to do it also in a sequence, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And like I said, you got to do it first one round 26, then one round 52, then another round finally at 80. And I'm gonna tell you guys, that last round at 80 was a struggle. This thing kept moving. I kept having to twist and try to hold it with my feet and trying to, get good leverage on there. And then finally did it in here. I did mine with just one of those Harbor Freight torque wrenches. This is the click type. I don't have anything fancy, anything digital like that. So if you have one of those, good for you. That'll probably be a little bit more accurate than this one. If you don't, this one works just fine. Some of these tools, I already had the tools in here, so I'm not adding that cost into the bill on the tool side. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have any of them, you will have to go and get them. And I'll leave you links in the bottom so you guys can pick it up if you choose to. But yeah, we got this all nice in here. I'm excited. It's starting to kind of come back and look as an engine. So we are gonna move on to the top here and add the cams and everything else in here. So let's get to that. So here are all the parts we're about to install. We have the cams over there nice and oiled up. Make sure you are cleaning, lubing, and oiling all of the parts after you use the crack cutter. Don't let that sit there too long. You'll see some of this stuff is not as shiny as the rest of them. That's because I let the crack cutter kind of sit there a little bit too long. So make sure you are rinsing out if you can, or lubing, oiling, basically getting rid of the cleaner itself as well after you clean the part. Otherwise, you could potentially damage some of this. So be warned, keep that in mind. I don't think it should affect anything. It's just not shiny, but there's no grooving or anything like that. So we should be okay. So keep watching. We'll find out a little bit later, I guess. But yeah, fair warning on that. Make sure you are rinsing out, cleaning out all of the cleaner on your parts after you clean them. With that said, we are getting ready to put this in here and get it all night torqued to spec. So we're gonna put this first, then we're gonna do the cams, and then we're gonna do the tops right at the end. We have a torque sequence for that, which I'll show you guys a little bit later. Those should be all to 16 foot-pounds. So let's get to work. All right, check it out, guys. We have installed now the cams. We have the cam tops, all the bolts here nice and torqued down to spec. Now, I will say that because we haven't put the chain or anything right, we just got this done. These two are gonna have to come off to put the chain on there and then put this back in there. So take that with a grain of salt, but we did do the sequence that you need to do in order to install all of this. You are gonna have to start with the center and then work your way out, just kind of like what we did with some of the other bolts as well. And then you do have a lot more bolts on this one, so just keep that in mind. There is one extra 10 millimeter on the center one. You are gonna ignore that towards the end. Same thing with the two on the end over here. Those are 10 millimeters and those have a slightly different torque spec compared to the rest of them. So we're gonna start with the top of them, right? You're gonna start from the center. You're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then once you get all of those, you're gonna go into the little one in the middle, 21, 22, and 23. Now, all bolts that are on the top that are 12 millimeter are gonna be basically 16 foot-pounds. And then the small 10 ones are gonna be 8.7 foot-pounds. Now, if you're like me and you don't have a torque wrench that goes that low, you might have to get a smaller one. I already had one. This one is inch-pounds. It's not foot-pounds, it's inch-pounds. So you do have to do the conversion of 8.7 foot-pounds to inch-pounds, which comes out to about 104.4 or 104.5. So you're gonna have to do that if you don't have one that goes that low. Mine start at 10 on these two other ones. so I had to switch out to the inch pounds. So keep that in mind. All right, my guys, so if you stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. I think this is gonna be a good stopping point for this video. I know it's probably run a lot longer than I wanted to, just because the cleaning and everything took me a lot longer than I thought. This engine was very dirty, as you saw, but we finally getting enough progress to where we can start putting this together. So just to recap today, right, we hit up the engine, we got it all cleaned up nice and as much as we could here from the house. And then we also added a brand new OEM head gasket. We added some brand new ARP head bolts here on the top. We've added our cams, bolted everything back into this. So I think this is a good stopping point for today. We're gonna continue on with the next video with adding all new timing guide components in here and our Type S oil pump. So that's gonna take a bit of time as well to get it on there. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you wanna keep up with the content and everything that we have here, don't forget to subscribe there. You can also check out our website, flakegarage.com. I'm gonna have links and everything. I'm gonna start posting all the parts and all that stuff that I'm getting here for the K24 swap as well, as I'm kind of adding more into here, and then can give you guys some links to them as well. So don't forget to hit up that flakegarage.com. Otherwise, I really appreciate you guys watching and continuing to support the channel here. It really helps me out here as you watch and like and comment and everything. So leave a comment down below about the progress that we're making so far. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.